Well, Donald Trump first became famous when he was a fame-hungry New York real estate developer who filed for bankruptcy 6 times. Weirdly, he reinvented himself, pretending to be a boardroom guy, telling people you're fired on television. But now voters might be realizing that Donald Trump is not a successful manager. He just played one on TV. A majority of registered voters, 56%, according to a Fox poll, now say that Trump is not competent and he's not effective in managing the federal government. 56%. Now, there's no mystery here. It's just not hard to understand why these numbers are. In fact, it's almost hard to understand why they're as low as they are. Because as Donald Trump's war in Iran drags on, his administration has literally descended into chaos. Every day, every few hours. Just yesterday, Navy Secretary John Phelan was fired after 13 months at the Pentagon. Donald Trump and the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, thought it was a good idea to fire the Navy Secretary just as the United States Navy has imposed a blockade of Iranian ports. The New York Times reports, quote, tensions had been simmering for months between Mr. Phelan and his 2 bosses. Mr. Phelan, a White House appointee, also had a contentious relationship with his deputy undersecretary, Hung Kao, who is more aligned with Mr. Hegseth, especially on some of the social and cultural battles that have defined the secretary's tenure, the official said. The tumult could make it harder for the Navy to replenish its stock of Tomahawk missiles and high-end air defense systems, which have been in heavy use in Iran. John Phelan is the latest military official to be forced out by Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth during Donald Trump's war, including the Army Chief of Staff, General Randy George. He was fired 3 weeks ago. We're in the middle of a war, and we fired the Army Chief of Staff and the Navy Chief of Staff. Donald Trump has lost 3 members of his cabinet in less than 2 months, all of them women. Now, look, you do expect high-level departures in a lame duck president's second term, but not like this. Both former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and the former Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Raymer were embroiled in headline-making scandals. Former Attorney General Pam Bondi was fired over the handling of the Epstein files. And then there are the Trump appointees who haven't been fired. FBI Director Kash Patel making headlines for responding to the Atlantic's reporting that he was, quote, known to drink to the point of obvious intoxication like this.
I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit. And any one of you that wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
And Trump's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick made headlines today for dodging questions about his deliberate public lie about his relationship with his next-door neighbor, Jeffrey Epstein.
The American people wants to know, why did you lie about your relationship with Epstein?
The House Oversight Committee and I have agreed
we
will spend the time
reclaiming
together.
My time. I do not accept that answer. We've heard that one. We are our own committee. We have our own reason to test your credibility and veracity. Please answer the question. Why did you lie to the Post?
I have voluntarily agreed to spend the time and talk about it.
I reclaim the time. Let the record reflect you're dodging the question.
And what stage of lame duck are you when one of your embattled cabinet secretaries is claiming that you've got your own special kind of math?
If the drug was $100 and it raised the price to $600, that would be a 600% rise. If it drops from 600 to 100, that's a 600% savings. And the president used that mathematical device.
Now, I don't know much about much, but I do know about numbers. That mathematical device does not exist. This is all happening as Donald Trump's war drags on, and he not only does not seem to know how to get out of it, he's not even sure about the basic facts about the war. At 9:14 a.m., we're in the 8th week of this war. 9:14 a.m. this morning, Donald Trump posted, quote, Iran's having a very hard time figuring out who their leader is. They just don't know. The infighting is between the hardliners who've been losing badly on the battlefield and the moderates, who are not very moderate at all, but gaining respect, is crazy. He also called MS Now's Jackie Alamany to say as much. President Donald Trump told MS Now on Thursday morning that Iran has no idea who their leader is at this moment. They're all messed up. They have no idea who their leader is. Donald Trump told Maria Bartiromo last week that he lost his voice, quote, screaming at Iranians, which is curious because he doesn't seem to know which Iranians he should be screaming at. He recently posted on social media, the United States of America is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. So again, I ask you, which Iranians? It's day 54 of supposed negotiations for a great deal with Iran, and Trump doesn't even know who we're supposed to be talking to. The New York Times reports, quote, in reality, the Islamic Republic has not been toppled. Power is now in the hands of an entrenched, hardline military, and the broad influence of the clerics is waning. The official interviewed say the generals view the war with the United States and Israel as a threat to the regime's survival. And after 5 weeks of fierce fighting, the generals are confident that they have contained the threat. At every juncture, they have taken the lead in deciding strategy and the use of resources. Back here, gas prices are still more than $4 a gallon and has been for most of the start of this war. This was Donald Trump's response when asked what he would say to the American people who want to know when the war will end and when those gas prices will go down.
What do you say to the American people who question how much longer this will take? Obviously, you know that they are having higher.
You're such a disgrace. Did you hear what I just said? Vietnam. How many years was Vietnam?
I understand, sir, but
how many years was Vietnam?
Deadline, so
well, I did my I took the country out militarily in the first 4 weeks. I took it out militarily. Now all we're doing is sitting back and seeing what deal. I'm not asking anybody for more time.
If you need more time, does that mean Americans should anticipate spending more on gasoline for the foreseeable future?
For a little while.
For a little while. New polling today from CNBC shows 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of Donald Trump's handling of the economy. I remind you, this is a topic on which he ran his election. And on inflation, that disapproval number climbs higher, only 30% approving, 69% disapproving. That's because American families are actually struggling to keep up. While the cost of food and gas continue to rise, the Trump administration is stripping funding for health care, safety net programs for Americans, but is willing to consider a financial lifeline for a dictatorial petrostate, the United Arab Emirates, a country that also happens to be a major Trump family enterprise funder. It's no wonder that tonight 63% of American voters believe that Donald Trump does not actually care about people like them.